This is Andi Purewal for Boxing News. I'm joined by promoter Eddie Hearn here. The sunshine in Abu Dhabi. Eddie, how are you doing?
I'm very good, and even better that you stepped in a water feature and you only have one shoe on at the moment.
Although I'm hoping
was it over there?
Yeah, it was literally right behind you. Hopefully the Saudi heat can dry my shoe, but yeah, here we are. How's life treating you?
Good, mate. It's been a long run. The back's gone a little bit after all these planes, and particularly Dublin, Belfast, San Francisco, Phoenix, and then here. It's looking forward to a week or 10 days off just to recharge before a busy 2024 ensues. But really looking forward to this card, obviously with the main event with AJ and Bivol and Opetaia, but looking forward to the whole card, particularly Miller against Dubois as well. So yeah.
We'll come on to the card shortly, but just I was going to do this at the end, but just to stick to it, how would you reflect on 2023, look ahead to 2024? I know you've still got Saturday to get out of the way, but until this point.
I think, the back end for us of 2023 was incredible. We've never put a schedule together like it. We know that PBC started the year really strongly and gave us a bit of a kick up the arse. Even though our start was okay, it wasn't as good as PBC, but no one's matched us on the back half of this year. And we're excited. I think boxing's in a great place. You've got new broadcasters coming into the fore. You've got the power of the Middle East making big fights. DAZN are being very aggressive and becoming more and more successful every day. So I love our position, and we just want to keep making great fights, keep giving our fighters the opportunities, keep bringing young fighters through, which is important to me as well. And I'm motivated by boxing, which is good news really for fight fans.
How have you found trying to keep that same energy, staying motivated within the sport after so many years?
Just a love for what you do, really. Like I said, I go back to young fighters as well. I love to see fighters change their life. I love to be a part of someone's journey. I love to see fighters succeed. Nothing really surprises you in the sport, but every now and again you get something like, I don't know, Peter McGrail getting knocked out last week, and it's just like, and it's now a rebuilding job for him. And you see a fight like Bam against Sonny, and you just think, this is why I love this sport. When we get it right, there's nothing like it, And I feel like we're in a good place of fighters wanting to actually take fights now. And I think as long as we can make sure that fighters are in competitive fights, they're up for taking the risk with the right reward, I think the sport's, like I said, I think it's in a great place.
A competitive fight on Saturday for your leading heavyweight charge, Mr. Anthony Joshua versus Joshua-Wallin. AJ never obviously gave much away of a workout yesterday, but why do you think that is? Why do you feel like he didn't really want to let?
Because he's just not going to hit pads. I mean, he's too long in the tooth to go in there and start hitting pads, and and I think if you're not going to do that, I think you need to do something different. And what he wanted to do was to get some kids from the local gym in the ring and give them a moment they'll never forget. So you can go in there and skip for 2 minutes and shadow box for a couple of minutes, but I think he wanted to give the future generation an opportunity, and he's just ready to fight now. Everything we're hearing out of training camp, everything we're hearing from Ben, everything we're hearing about sparring, I can't wait. I can't wait to see him fight on Saturday. One
thing I'm interested to get your thoughts on, I asked Darren Barker this question in Belfast, is we've seen this evolvement of AJ's style. Obviously earlier on in his career, people argue up until maybe the Ruiz loss, he was a lot more aggressive coming forwards, and when he smelt blood, he'd go in and finish the job off. Maybe he's a bit more calculated now, a bit more thoughtful about how he wants to go about his business. Do you think he's as much of a threat boxing like that, or would you rather see him going back to reverting back to
I just think you become more experienced, more knowledgeable about the sport. When he was younger, he was probably naive. He didn't think about getting hit. He didn't think he could get hurt. He got hurt a couple of times and thought, if I'm going to have any longevity in my career, I've just got to be a bit smarter. I do think he needs to be a little bit more aggressive, and I think you'll see that in this fight. But that comes with confidence, that comes with understanding the game plan. And I've always said with AJ, when he's got that confidence and when he understands the game plan with his trainer, I think he's unbeatable. And I think you'll see that on Saturday night. So, yeah, I just think fighters evolve. They just understand the sport more and understand what it takes to win.
AJ's obviously had a number of trainers over the last few years now. What do you make of that chopping and changing?
It's never ideal, but you've got to chop and change till you get it right. I think sometimes you can stay with a trainer or in a relationship with a trainer where you almost know it's not right, but you just stay there. It's a good location for me, and maybe it'll get better, or rather than saying actually this isn't for me. And You know, the Ben Davison thing really came about because he wanted to train in the UK while he was waiting to hear fight news. He knows Ben, you know, they gel well, and he's been extremely comfortable in there. And again, that translates through to sparring and everything we're hearing. He's fantastic. Still got to happen for him on Saturday, but you know, when he's confident and comfortable, like I said, he's a dangerous man, and that's exactly where his mindset's at right now.
When I interviewed Deontay Wilder yesterday, he said it would have made more sense for AJ to box before him, because say if Deontay does go out and deliver a stunning knockout, does the pressure then go on to AJ?
Honestly, he won't be watching the fight. Yeah. Like, will he say, how did Deontay get on? Maybe. He's just focused on Joshua-wallin. Like, Wilder's got so much to say. And it's not always his fault, because people are asking him questions. But AJ couldn't give a shit what Deontay Wilder does in there. He just wants to win, that's all. And the rest will take care of itself.
I have to ask Eddie, I imagine everybody will ask you about it today. Dan Raphael tweeting last night that a deal has been agreed and will be signed prior to both of those fights on Saturday night. A 2-fight deal like that. The truth?
No, I mean, you know, the talks continue. We're not really going to go into too much before the fight. I've seen reports from other journalists and they were incorrect. Dan Raphael will hear something from someone. The only people that know the truth is myself and Turki Al-Sheikh, His Excellency, you know, AJ's team, and, you know, will there be an announcement on Saturday if he wins, if Wilder wins, if they're unscathed? Maybe. You know, can I say there will be? No, I can't say that right now. So that should answer your question.
Confident though that we do see that next year?
There's a lot of things that have got to happen for that fight to get done. So it's definitely not done yet. And it can't be done anyway till after Saturday night, because you know, we saw with Fury against Usyk, that was supposed to be December 23rd. All of a sudden, Fury gets dropped. Like for a turnaround to March, you can't just win on Saturday. You've got to win unscathed. And that's very difficult to do in a big heavyweight fight.
Just moving away from that one, Eddie, just wanted to get your thoughts on a few other things. Obviously, working with Frank Warren on this card. Have you had any further talks about maybe working together in the UK? Is this kind of setting the precedence for starting to get that cross-promotional stance going?
No, I mean, this is quite unique in that, obviously, broadcasters weren't as much of an issue in this fight. Like, he's still got a job to do to deliver a good schedule for BT with TNT. We've still got a job to do to deliver a great schedule for DAZN. So we can't just start putting our fighters on TNT and vice versa. But don't forget, DAZN had the global rights for this fight and also brought TNT into the fold. So there's a good relationship there as well, which helps us trying to make the fight. So obviously now Frank is involved with events in Saudi, and so are we. You're going to see more of that work, because if we make Joshua Wilder, he'll probably have fights on the card. And we'll have a load of fighters on the card. You know, Fury Usyk, we may have fighters on Fury Usyk. So we're going to be around each other a lot more. And, you know, the relationship's always been quite decent and strong with George. And now, you know, I think we're less likely to talk rubbish about each other, because people, particularly here in a position of power, don't really want to hear it. So by doing that, you put yourself and your company in a weaker position, and therefore your fighters, by talking negatively. So even though I'm not under instruction not to, but I'm just not an idiot. Like, I know this is a great opportunity for our fighters and our business. So, you know, I'm not going to go on a rant in an interview and, you know, make someone think, why are we actually working with this person? That will lose opportunities for my fighters. That will lose opportunities for my company. So I'm delighted to be here. It's a great opportunity, and, you know, to be promoting another main event in Saudi Arabia is, you know, after 2 great fights previously, delighted to be back.
Just a few other topics to quickly run through with you, Eddie. Oscar De La Hoya confirming that talks are underway for that Devin Haney-ryan Garcia fight. What can you tell us?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, myself and Oscar, Eric Gomez, we're speaking to DAZN, and we're going to present to Devin and to Ryan an offer to try and make that fight. I think Devin will definitely take the fight. You know, we'll present it to Devin and Bill probably next week. and then we'll see. I do think there's a good chance to make that fight.
The Tank Davis DM. Where did that get to?
No, we've spoken a little bit since then. I said yesterday in an interview that this stems from my comments about the Ryan Garcia fight, and I probably used a couple of phrases that didn't really make sense, and I apologise for that. I told him that, but still, what I said makes perfect sense. This guy he's mentally strong for boxing. And what I mean by that is he's just like someone who is an overthinker will panic in fights or will worry about fights, whereas Gervonta don't give a shit. He's just going to go in there and try and take your head off. And that makes him really dangerous. That makes him the fighter that he is. And that's what I was talking about. But anyway, look, I wanted to talk to Gervonta because we got huge offers for him. And if I'm Gervonta Davis, I'm looking at being a free agent and do what Canelo Alvarez does and those huge names, to try and be able to make the big fights. Because if you're just going to keep it in-house, are you looking at an insect or something over my shoulder?
Someone's moving my shoes.
Oh, really? Oh, right. I thought there was like a dragonfly. There's a few fights. You were like, over my shoulder, I was thinking. If they're going to keep it in-house, you're not going to fight Devin, or you're not going to fight Shakur or Teofimo. So if I'm Gervonta Davis, I'm floating around and I'm listening. But, it's up to him.
And final one, Bam Rodriguez with that stunning victory last week. How special is he and how courageous is Sonny Edwards?
Bam is 23 years old. He's a pound-for-pound great already. Sonny was tremendous. I think his stock has risen fantastically since that fight. We will now look to make Bam against Estrada, which is a massive fight. And, probably up at Superfly and position Sonny for another shot at the World Championship, maybe even a fight at Lightfly. But looking forward to seeing him back and looking forward to an incredible future for Jesse Rodriguez.
Is there no chance at all about him sticking at 112?
I thought initially that would be the plan. I think he can pick the belts up there, but I feel like he, they said it was very tough to make the weight this time around, so they're going to move back to 115.
It is. Pleasure as always. Thank you for speaking to me.
Cheers, mate.